ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaste my dear friends. In this video I am going to describe Varaha Upanishad of Krsna Yajurveda. Chapter 1. The great sage Ribhu performed penance for 12 divine years. At the end of the time, the Lord appeared before him in the form of a boar. He said, "Rise, rise, and choose your boon." The sage got up and, having prostrated himself before him, said, "O Lord, I will not in my dream wish of three those things that are desired by the worldly. All the Vedas, Shastras, Itihas, and all the hosts of other sciences, as well as Brahma and all the other Devas, speak of emancipation as resulting from a knowledge of thy nature. So impart to me that science of Brahma which treats of thy nature." Then the boar-shaped Bhagwan Lord said, "Some disputants hold that there are 24 tattvas, principles, and some 36, whilst others maintain that there are 96. I shall relate them in their order. Listen with an attentive mind. The organs of senses are five, viz. Ear, skin, eye, and others. The organs of action are five, viz. Mouth, hand, leg, and others. Prana's vital ears are five, sound and others, which rudimentary principles are five. Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, and Ahankara are four. Thus, those that know Brahma know these to be the 24 tattvas. Besides these, the wise hold the quintuple- quintuplicated elements to be five, viz. Earth, water, fire, vayu, and akas. The bodies to be three, the gross, the subtle, and karna or causal. The states of consciousness to be three, viz. The waking, the dreaming, and the dreamless sleeping. The Munis know the total collection of tattvas to be 36, coupled with jiva. With these tattvas, there are six changes, which existence, birth, growth, transformation, decay, and destruction. Hunger, thirst, grief, delusion, old age, and death are said to be the six infirmities. Skin, blood, flesh, fat, marrow, and bones are said to be the six seeds. Passion, anger, avarice, delusion, pride, and malice are the six kinds of foes. Visva, Tejasa, and Prajna are the three aspects of the Jiva. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas are the three gunas, qualities. Prarabdha, Sanchita, and Agami are the three karmas. Talking, lifting, waking, excreting, and enjoying are the five actions of the organs of action. And there are also thought, certainty, egoism, compassion, memory, functions of manas, etc. Complacency, sympathy, and indifference. Dik, the quarters, Vayu, sun, Varuna, Aswini, Devas, Agni, Indra, Upendra, and Mritu, death, and then the moon, the four-faced Brahma, Rudra, Akshitrajana, and Iswara. Thus, these are the 96 tattvas. Those that worship with devotion me of the form of power, who am other than the aggregate of these tattvas and am without decay are released from ajnana and its effects and become Jivan Muktas. Those that know these 96 tattvas will attain salvation in whatever order of life they may be, whether they have matted hair or are of shaven head or have only their tuft of hair on. There is no doubt of this. Thus ends the first chapter. Chapter 2. The great Ribhu again addressed the Lord of Lakshmi of the form of boar thus: O Lord, please initiate me into the supreme Brahma vidya or science. Then the Lord, who removes the miseries of his devotees, being thus questioned, answered thus: through the right observance of the duties of one's own caste and orders of life, through religious austerities, and through the pleasing of the Guru, by serving him rightly, arise to persons the four Vairagya, etc. They are the discrimination of the eternal from the non-eternal, indifference to the enjoyments of this and the other worlds, the acquisition of the six virtues, sama, etc., and the longing after liberation. These should be practiced having subdued the sensual organs and having given up the conception of mind in all objects. You should place your consciousness of I in or identity yourself with me, who am the witness Chaitanya consciousness. To be born as a human being is difficult, more difficult it is to be born as a male being, and more so is it to be born as a Brahmin. Even then, if the fool does not cognize through the hearing, etc., of Vedanta, the true nature of Satchitananda of Brahma, that is all pervading and that is beyond all caste and orders of life, when will he obtain moksha? I alone am happiness, there is none other. If there is said to be another, then it is not happiness. There is no such thing as love except on my account. The love that is on account of me is not nature to me, as I am the seat of supreme love. That I am not is not. He who is sought after all, saying, I should become such, is myself the all-pervading. How can non-light affect Atma, the self-shining, which is no other than the light, whence originates the words, I am not light? My firm conviction is, whoever knows for certain that Atma, which is self-shining and has itself no basis to rest upon, is one of Vijnana. The universe, Jiva, Iswara, Maya, and others do not really exist except my full Atma. I have not their characteristics, karma, which has dharana and other attributes and is of the form of darkness, and ajnana is not fit to touch or affect me, who am Atma, the self-resplendent. That man who sees his Atma, which is all witness and is beyond all caste and orders of life as of the nature of Brahma becomes himself Brahma. Whoever sees through the evidence of Vedanta this visible universe as the supreme seat which is of the form of light attains moksha at once when that knowledge which dispels the idea that this body alone is Atma arises firmly in one's mind as was before the knowledge that this body alone is Atma, then that person, even though he does not desire moksha, gets it. Therefore, how will a person be bound by karma who always enjoys the bliss of Brahma, which has the characteristics of Satchitananda and which is other than Agyana? Persons with spiritual eyes see Brahma, that is the witness of the three states that has the characteristics of beingness, wisdom and bliss. That is the underlying meaning of the words thou, tvam and I, aham, and that is untouched by all the stains. As a blind man does not see the sun that is shining, so an ignorant person does not see Brahma. Prajna alone is Brahma, it has truth and prajna as its characteristics. By thus cognizing Brahma well, a person becomes immortal, one who knows his own Atma as Brahma, that is bliss and without duality, and gunas qualities, and that is truth and absolute consciousness, is not afraid of anything. That which is consciousness alone, which is all pervading, which is eternal, which is all full, which is of the form of bliss and which is indestructible, is the only truth, only true Brahma. It is the settled determination of Brahmagyanis that there is naught else but that as the world appears dark to the blind and bright to those having good eyes, so this world full of manifold miseries to the ignorant is full of happiness to the wise. In me of the form of boar, who am infinite and the bliss of absolute consciousness. If there is the conception of non-dualism, where then is bondage and who is the one to be emancipated? The real nature of all embodied objects is ever the absolute consciousness. Like the pot seen by the eyes, the body and its aggregates are not, which do not really exist. Knowing as Atma all the locomotive and fixed worlds that appear as other than Atma, meditate upon them as it I am. Such a person then enjoys his real nature. There is no other to be enjoyed than oneself. If there is anything that is, then Brahma alone has that attribute. One who is perfect in Brahmajnana, though he always sees this established universe, does not see it other than his Atma. By cognizing clearly my form, one is not trammeled by karma. He is an undaunted person who by his own experience cognizes as his own real nature all the universe and Brahma that is without the body and the organs of sense, that is the all witness, that is the one noumenal Vijnana, that is the blissful Atma as contrasted with Jivatma or the lower self, and that is the self resplendent. He is one that should be known as I myself. O Ribhu, may you become he. After this, there will be never any experience of the world. Thereafter, there will always be the experience of the wisdom of one's own true nature. One who has thus known fully Atma has neither emancipation nor bondage. Whoever meditates even for one muhurta, 48 minutes, through the cognition of one's own real form, upon him who is dancing as the all witness is released from all bondage. Prostrations, prostrations to me, who am in all the elements, who am the Chidatma, Vis Atma of the nature of wisdom, that is eternal, free, and who am the Pratyagyatma. O Devata, you are I am you. Prostrations on account of myself and yourself, who are infinite and who are Chidatma, myself being the Supreme Isa Lord and yourself being Shiva of a beneficent nature. What should I do? Where should I go? What should I reject? Nothing, because the universe is filled by me as with the waters of the universal deluge. Whoever gives up fond love of the external love of the eternal and love of the body and thus gives up all associations is merged in me. There is no doubt about it that Paramhansa ascetic who, though living in the world, keeps aloof from human congregation as from serpent, who regards a beautiful woman as a living corpse and the endless sensual objects as poison, and who has abandoned all passion and is indifferent towards all objects is no other than Vasudeva with him myself. This is Satya truth. This is nothing but truth. It is truth alone that is now said. I am Brahma, the truth. There is naught else but I. The word Upvasa, literally dwelling near, signifies the dwelling near or union of Jivatma and Paramatma and not the religious observance as accepted by the world of emaciating the body through fast. To the ignorant, what is the use of the mere drying up of the body? By beating about the hole of a snake, can we be said to have killed the big snake within? A man is said to attain proksha, indirect wisdom, when he knows theoretically that there is Brahma, but he is said to attain sakshatkara, direct cognition, when he knows or realizes that he is himself Brahma. When a yogi knows his Atma to be the Absolute, then he becomes a Jivan Mukta. To Mahatmas, to be always in the state I am Brahma conduces to their salvation. There are two words for bondage and moksha. They are mine and not mine. Man is bound by mine, but he is released by not mine. He should abandon all the thoughts relating to externals and so also with reference to internals. O Ribhu, having given up all thoughts, you should rest content in your Atma ever. The whole of the universe is caused through Sankalpa alone. It is only through Sankalpa that the universe manifests. Having abandoned the universe which is of the form of Sankalpa and having fixed your mind upon the Nirvikalpa, one which is changeless, meditate upon my abode in your heart, O most intelligent being. Pass your time in meditating upon me, glorifying me in songs, talking about me to one another, and thus devoting yourself entirely to me as the Supreme. Whatever is Chit consciousness in the universe is only Chinmatra. This universe is Chinmaya only. You are Chit, I am Chit. Contemplate upon the worlds also as Chit. Make the desires nil. Always be without any stain. How then can the bright lamp of Atmic Vijnana arising through the Vedas be affected by the karma arising from the ignorance of the actor and the agent, having given up not Atma and being in the world unaffected by it, delight only in the Chinmatra within, ever intent on the one, as the Akash of the pot and that of the house are both located in the all-pervading Akash. So the Jivas and Iswara are only evolved out of me. The Chidakasa, the one Akas of universal consciousness, so that which does not exist before the evolution of Atmas, Jivas and Iswara, and that which is rejected at the end, is universal. Deluge is called Maya by Brahmagyanis through their discrimination. Should Maya and its effects, the universe, be annihilated, there is no state of Isvara, there is no state of Jiva. Therefore, like the Akas without its vehicle, I am the immaculate and Chit, the creation sentient as well as non-sentient, from Ikshana thinking to Parvesha entry as stated in Chandogya Upanishad. Parpathaka 6. Khandas 2 and 3 of those having the forms of Jivas and Iswara is due to the creation or illusion of Iswara, while the samsara worldly existence from the waking state to the salvation is due to the creation of jiva. So the karmas ordained in the sacrifice called Trinachka, so called after Nachiketas of Katha Upanishad, to yoga are dependent upon the illusion of Iswara, while the systems from Lokyata atheistical system to Sankhya rest on the illusion of Jiva. Therefore, aspirants after salvation should never make their heads enter into the field of controversy regarding Jiva and Isvara, but with an undisturbed mind, the tattvas of Brahma should be investigated. Those who do not cognize the tattva of the second-less Brahma are all deluded persons only. Whence then is salvation to them? Whence then is happiness to them in this universe? What if they have the thoughts of the superiority and inferiority of Isvara and Jiva? Will sovereignty and medicancy experienced by a person in the dreaming state affect him in his waking state? When buddhi is absorbed in ajnana, then it is termed by the wise sleep. Whence then is sleep to me who have not ajnana and its effects? When buddhi is in full bloom, then it is said to be the Jagrat, waking state. As I have no changes, etc., there is no waking state to me. The moving about of buddhi in the subtle nadis constitutes the dreaming state. In me, without the act of moving about, there is no dreaming. Then at the time of Sushupti, when all things are absorbed, enveloped by tamas, he then enjoys the highest bliss of his own nature in all invisible state. If he sees everything as Chit without any difference, he alone is an actual Vijnani. He alone is Shiva. He alone is Hari. He alone is Brahma. This mundane existence, which is an ocean of sorrow, is nothing but a long-lived dream or an illusion of the mind or a long-lived reign of the mind. From rising from sleep till going to bed, the one Brahma alone should be contemplated upon by causing to be absorbed this universe, which is but a superimposition. The chitta partakes of my nature, having annihilated all the six powerful enemies through their destruction, become the non-dual one, like the saint elephant. Whether the body perishes now or lasts the age of moon and stars, what matters is to me having Chit alone as my body. What matters it to the Akash in the pot? Whether the pot is destroyed now or exists for a long time, while the slough of a serpent lies cast off lifeless in its hole, the serpent does not evince any affection towards it. Likewise, the wise do not identify themselves with their gross and subtle bodies. If the delusive knowledge that the universe is real with its cause should be destroyed by the fire of Atmajnana, the wise man becomes bodiless through the idea it Brahma is not this, it is not this. Through the study of Shastras, the knowledge of reality of the universe perishes. Through direct perception of truth, one's fitness for action in this universe ceases. With the cessation of prarabdha, the portion of the past karma which is being enjoyed in this life, the destruction of the manifestation of the universe takes place. Maya is thus destroyed in a threefold manner. If within himself no identification of Jiva with Brahma takes place, the state of separateness of Jiva does not perish. If the non-dual one is truly discerned, then all affinities for objects cease. With the cessation of prarabdha arising from the cessation of affinities, there is that of the body. Therefore, it is certain that Maya perishes thus entirely. If it is said that all the universe is, that Brahma alone is, that is of the nature of Sat. If it is said that the universe shines, then it is Brahma alone that shines. The mirage of all the water in a oasis is really no other than the oasis itself. Through inquiry of one's self, the three worlds above, below, and middle are only of the nature of Chit. In Brahma, which is one and alone, the essence of whose nature is absolute consciousness, and which is remote from the differences of Jiva, Isvara, and Guru, there is no Ajnana. Such being the case, where then is the occasion for the universe there? I am that Brahma which is all full, while the full moon of wisdom is robbed of its luster by the Rahu, one of the two nodes of the moon of delusion. All actions such as the rites of bathing, almsgiving, and sacrifice performed during the time of eclipse are all fruitless. As salt dissolved in water becomes one, so if Atma and Manas become identified, it is termed Samadhi. Without the grace of good, perfect Guru, the abandonment of sensual objects is very difficult of attainment. so also the perception of divine truth and the attainment of one's true state. Then the state of being in one's own self shines of its own accord in a yogin in whom Jnana Shakti has dawned and who has abandoned all karmas. The property of fluctuation is natural to Mercury and mind. If either Mercury is bound or consolidated or mind is bound or controlled, what then on this earth cannot be accomplished? He who obtains Murcha cures all diseases. The dead are brought to life again. He who has bound his mind or Mercury is able to move in the air. Therefore, Mercury and mind confer upon one the state of Brahma. The master of Indriyas, the organs, is Manas, mind. The master of Manas is Prana. The master of Prana is Laya, absorption yoga. Therefore, Laya yoga should be practiced. To the yogins, Laya yoga is said to be without actions and changes. This Laya, absorption of mind, which is above speech and in which one has to abandon all sankalpas and to give up completely all actions, should be known through one's own experience. As an actress, though subject or dancing in harmony to music, cymbals, and other musical instruments of time, has her mind intent upon the protection of the pot on her head, so the yogi, though intent for the time being upon the host of objects, never leaves off the mind contemplating on Brahma. The person who desires all the wealth of yoga should, after having given up all thoughts, practice with a subdued mind concentration on nada, spiritual sound alone. Chapter 3. The partless, there is none else but myself. Whatever is seen and whatever is heard is no other than Brahma. I am that Parbrahma which is the eternal, the immaculate, the free, the one, the undivided bliss, the non-dual, the truth, the wisdom, and the endless. I am of the nature of bliss. I am of undivided wisdom. I am the supreme of the supreme. I am the resplendent absolute consciousness. As the clouds do not touch the akash, so the miseries attendant on mundane existence do not affect me. Know all to be happiness through the annihilation of sorrow, and all to be of the nature of Sat, beingness, through the annihilation of Asat, not beingness. It is only the nature of Chit, consciousness, that is associated with this visible universe. Therefore, my form is partless. To an exalted yogi, there is neither birth nor death, nor going to other spheres, nor returning to earth. There is no stain or purity or knowledge, but the universe shines to him as absolute consciousness. Practice always silence. I am whiz that you yourself are. Parbrahma, which is truth and absolute consciousness, which is undivided and non-dual, which is invisible, which is stainless, which is pure, which is secondless, and which is beneficent. It, Brahma, is not subject to birth and death, happiness and misery. It is not subject to caste, law, family, and gotra clan. Practice silence. I am Chit, which is the Vivarta Upadana, that is which the illusory cause of the universe. Always practice silence. I am which you are the Brahma. That is the full, the secondless, the undivided consciousness which has neither the relationship nor the differences existing in the universe and which partakes of the essence of the non-dual and the supreme Sat and Chit, that which always is and that which preserves the same nature during the three periods of time unaffected by anything is my eternal form of Sat. Even the state of happiness which is eternal without upadhis, vehicles, and which is superior to all the happiness derivable from Susupti is of my bliss alone. As by the rays of the sun thick gloom is soon destroyed, so darkness, the cause of rebirth, is destroyed by Hari, Vishnu, with the sun's lustre. Through the contemplation and worship of my Hari's feet, every person is delivered from his ignorance. The means of destroying deaths and births is only through the contemplation of my feet. As a lover of wealth praises a wealthy man, so if with earnestness a person praises the cause of the universe who will not be delivered from bondage. As in presence of the sun, the world of its own accord begins to perform its actions, so in my presence all the worlds are animated to action. As to the mother of pearl, the illusory conception of silver is falsely attributed. So to me is falsely attributed through Maya, this universe which is composed of Mahat, etc. I am not with those differences that are observable in the body of low caste man, the body of cow, etc. The fixed ones, the bodies of Brahmanas and others. As to a person, even after being relieved from the misconception of the directions, the same misconception of direction continues as before. Just so is to me the universe, though destroyed by Vijnana. Therefore, the universe is not. I am neither the body nor the organs of sense and action, nor pranas, nor manas, nor buddhi, nor ahankara, nor chitta, nor maya, nor the universe including Akash and others. Neither am I the actor, the enjoyer, nor he who causes the enjoyment. I am Brahma, that is Chit, Sat and Ananda alone, and that is Janardana, Vishnu. As though the fluctuation of water, the sun reflected therein is moved, so Atma arises in this mundane existence through its mere connection with Ahankara. This mundane existence has Chitta as its root. This Chitta should be cleansed by repeated effort. How is it you have your confidence in the greatness of Chitta? Alas, where is all the wealth of the kings? Where are the Brahmanas? Where are all the worlds? All old ones are gone. Many fresh evolutions have occurred. Many crores of Brahmas have passed away. Many kings have flitted away like particles of dust. Even to a Jnani, the love of the body may arise through the Asura demoniacal nature. If the Asura nature should arise in a wise man, his knowledge of truth becomes fruitless. Should Rajas and other generated in us be burnt by the fire of discriminative divine wisdom, how can they germinate again? Just as a very intelligent person delights in the shortcomings of another, so if one finds out his own faults and corrects them, who will not be relieved from bondage? O Lord of Munis, only he who has not Atma Jnana and who is not an emancipated person longs after siddhis. He attains such siddhis through medicine or wealth, mantras, religious works, time and skill. In the eyes of an Atmajnani, these siddhis are of no importance. One who has become an Atmajnani, one who has his sight solely on Atma, and one who is content with Atma, the higher self, through his Atma or the lower self, never follows the dictates of avidya. Whatever exists in this world, he knows to be of the nature of avidya. How then will an Atmajnani who has relinquished avidya be immersed in or affected by it? Though medicine, mantras, religious work, time and skill or mystical expressions lead to the development of siddhis, yet they cannot in any way help one to attain the seat of Paramatma. How then can one who is an Atmajnani and who is without his mind be said to long after siddhis while all the actions of his desires are controlled? Chapter 4. On another occasion, Nidagha asked Lord Ribhu to enlighten him as to the characteristics of Jivan Mukti, to which Ribhu replied in the affirmative and said the following. In the 7 bhumikas or stages of development of wisdom, there are 4 kinds of Jivan Muktas. Of these, the first stage is Subhecha, good desire. The second is Vicharana, inquiry. The third is Tanu Manasi, or pertaining to the thinned mind. The fourth is Satvapatti, the attainment of Sattva. The fifth is Asamsakti, non-attachment. Asamsakti, non-attachment. The sixth is the Padartha Bhavana, analysis of objects, and the seventh is the Turiya, fourth or final stage. The Bhumika, which is of the form of Parnava Om, is formed of or is divided into Akara, A, Ukara, U, Makara, M, and Ardhmatra. Akara and others are of 4 kinds on account of the difference of Sthula, gross, Sukshma, subtle, Bija, seed or causal, and Sakshi, witness. Their avasthas are 4: waking, dreaming, dreamless, sleeping, and Turiya, fourth. He who is in, or the entity that identifies itself with the waking state in the gross ansa, essence or part of Akara, is named Vishva. In the subtle essence, he is termed Tejasa. In the Bija essence, he is termed Prajna, and in the Sakshi essence, he is termed Turiya. He who is in the dreaming state, or the entity which identifies itself with the dreaming state in the gross essence of Ukara, is Vishwa. In the subtle essence he is termed Tejasa. In the Bija essence he is termed Prajna. And in the Sakshi essence he is termed Turiya. He who is in the Susupti state in the gross essence of Makara is termed Vishwa. In the subtle essence Tejasa. In the Bija essence he is termed Prajna, and in the Sakshi essence he is termed Turiya. He who is in Turiya state in the gross essence of Ardhamatra is termed Turiya Vishwa. In the subtle he is termed Tejasa. In the Bija essence he is termed Prajna, and in the Sakshi essence he is termed Turiya. The Turiya essence of Akara is or embraces the first, second and third bhumikas or stages of the seven. The Turiya essence of Ukara embraces the fourth bhumika. The Turiya essence of Makara embraces the fifth bhumika. The Turiya essence of Makara embraces the fifth bhumika. The Turiya essence of Ardhamatra is the sixth stage. Beyond this is the seventh state. One who functions in the first three bhumikas is called Mumukshu. One who functions in the fourth bhumika is called Brahmavit. One who functions in the fifth bhumika is called Brahmavidvara. One who functions in the sixth bhumika is called Brahmavidarya. And one in the seventh bhumika is called Brahmavidyavarishta. With reference to this, there are slokas. They are Subhecha is said to be the first Jnana Bhumi or stage of wisdom, Vicharna the second, Tanumanasi the third, Sattvapatti the fourth, then come Asma Sakti as the fifth, Padartha Bhavana as the sixth, and Turiya as the seventh. The desire that arises in one through sheer vairagya after resolving, shall I be ignorant? I will be seen by the Shastras and the wise, or I will study the books and be with the wise, is termed by the wise as Subhecha. The association with the wise and Shastras and the following of the right path preceding the practice of indifference is termed Vicharna. That stage wherein the hankering after sensual objects is thinned through the first and second stage is said to be Tanumanasi. That stage wherein having become indifferent to all sensual objects through the existence in the above three stages, the purified chitta rest on Atma, which is of the nature of Sat, is called Sattvapatti. The light or manifestation of Sattva that is firmly rooted in one without any desire for the fruits of actions through the practice in the above four stages is termed Asamsakti. That stage wherein through the practice in the above five stages one having found delight in Atma has no conception of the internals or externals, though before him, and engages in actions only when impelled to do so by others, is termed Padartha Bhavana. The sixth stage, the stage wherein after exceedingly long practice in the above six stages one is immovably fixed in the contemplation of Atma alone without the difference of the universe, is the seventh stage called Turiya. The three stages beginning with Subhecha are said to be attained with or amidst differences and non-differences, because the universe one sees in the waking state he thinks to be really existent. When the mind is firmly fixed on the non-dual one and the conception of duality is put down, then he sees this universe as a dream through his union with the fourth stage. As the autumnal cloud being dispersed vanishes, so this universe perishes. O Nidagha, be convinced that such a person has only sattva remaining. Then, having ascended the fifth stage, called Susupti Pada, dreamless sleeping state, he remains simply in the non-dual state, being freed from all the various differences, having always intravision through, though ever participating in external actions, those that are engaged in the practice of this sixth stage are seen like one sleeping when fatigued, which being freed from all affinities. Lastly, the seventh stage, which is the ancient and which is called Godashupti, is generally attained. Then one remains in that second-less state without fear and with his consciousness almost annihilated, where there is neither Sat nor Asat, neither self nor not self, like an empty pot in the Akash. There is void both within and without, like a filled vessel in the midst of an ocean. He is full both within and without. Do not become either the knower or the known. May you become the reality which remains after all thoughts are given up, having discarded all the distinctions of the seer, the sight, and the seen with their affinities. Meditate solely upon Atma, which shines as the supreme light. He is said to be a Jivan Mukta, emancipated person in whom, though participating in the material concerns of the world, the universe is not seen to exist like the invisible Akash. He is said to be a Jivan Mukta, the light of whose mind never sets or rises in misery or happiness, and who does not seek to change what happens to him, which either to diminish his misery or increase his happiness. He is said to be a Jivan Mukta, who though in his Susupti is awake and to whom the waking state is unknown and whose wisdom is free from the affinities of objects. He is said to be a Jivan Mukta whose heart is pure like Akash, though acting as if in consonance to love, hatred, fear, and others. He is said to be a Jivan Mukta who has not the conception of his being the actor and whose buddhi is not attached to material objects. Whether he performs actions or not, he is said to be a Jivan Mukta of whom people are not afraid, who is not afraid of people and who has given up joy, anger, and fear. He is said to be a Jivan Mukta who, though participating in all the illusory objects, is cool amidst them and is a full Atma, being as if they belonged to others. O Muni, he is called a Jivan Mukta who, having eradicated all the desires of his chitta, is fully content with me, who am the Atma of all. He is said to be a Jivan Mukta who rests with an unshaken mind in that all pure abode which is Chinmatra and free from all the modifications of chitta. He is said to be a Jivan Mukta in whose chitta do not dawn the distinctions of the universe, I, he, thou, and others that are visible and unreal. Through the path of the Guru and Shastras enter soon Sat, the Brahma, that is immutable, grateful, and without objects, and be firmly seated there. Shiva alone is Guru, Shiva alone is Vedas, Shiva alone is Lord, Shiva alone is I, Shiva alone is all. There is none other than Shiva. The undaunted Brahma, having known him, Shiva, should attain wisdom. One need not utter many words as they, but endure the organ of speech. The Rishi Sukha is a Mukta, emancipated person. The Rishi Vamdeva is a Mukta. There are no others who have attained emancipation than through these, which the two paths of these two rishis. Those brave men who follow the path of Sukha in this world become Sadhyo Mukta or emancipated immediately after the body wears away, while those who follow the path of Vedanta in this world are subject again and again to rebirths and attain karma gradual emancipation through yoga, sankhya, and karmas associated with sattva guna. Thus, there are two paths laid down by Lord of Devas, viz. The Sukha and Vamdeva paths. The Sukha path is called the bird's path, while the Vamdeva path is called the ant's path. Those persons that have cognized the true nature of their Atma through the mandatory and prohibitory injunctions of the Vedas, the inquiry into the true meaning of Mahavakyas, the sacred sentences of the Vedas, the Samadhi of Sankhya Yoga or Asamparjanata Samadhi, and that have thereby purified themselves, attain the supreme seat through the Sukha path, having through Hatha Yoga practice with the pain caused by yama, postures, etc., become liable to the ever recurring obstacles caused by anima and other siddhis, and having not obtained good results, one is born again in a great family and practices yoga through his previous karmic affinities. Then, through the practice of yoga, during many lives, he attains salvation with the supreme seat of Vishnu through the Vamdeva path. Thus, there are two paths that lead to the attainment of Brahma and that are beneficent. The one confirms instantaneous salvation and the other confirms gradual salvation. To one that sees all as the one Brahma, where is delusion, where is sorrow? Those that are under the eyes of those whose buddhi is solely occupied with the truth of Brahma, that is the end of all experience, are released from all heinous sins. All beings inhabiting heaven and earth that fall under the vision of Brahmavits are at once emancipated from the sins committed during many crores of births. Chapter 5. Then Nidga asked Lord Ribhu to enlighten him as to the rules to be observed in the practice of yoga. Accordingly, he, the Lord, said thus: the body is composed of the five elements. It is filled with five mandalas, spheres. That which is hard is Prithvi, earth. One of them, that which is liquid, is Apas, and that which is bright is Tejas, fire. Motion is the property of Vayu, that which pervades everywhere is Akash. All these should be known by an aspirant after yoga. Through the blowing of Vayu Mandala in this body, there are caused 21,600 breaths every day and night. If there is a diminution in the Prithvi Mandala, there arise foods in the body. If there is diminution in the essence of Apas, there arises gradually grayness of hair. If there is diminution in the essence of tejas, there is loss of hunger and lustre. If there is diminution in the essence of vayu, there is incessant tremor. If there is diminution in the essence of akash, one dies. The jivita with prana, which possesses these elements, rise, rises up like birds flying up in the air. It is for this reason that is called Udyana, little flying up. With reference to this, there is said to be a bandha, binding, also meaning a posture called Udyan Bandha, by which this flight can be arrested. This Udyan Bandha is to or does away with death as a lion to an elephant. It experiences its experience is in the body as also the bandha. Its binding in the body is hurtful. If there is agitation of agni fire within the belly, then there will be caused much of pain. Therefore, this Udyan Bandha should not be practiced by one who is hungry or who has urgency to make water or void excrement. He should take many times in small quantities proper and moderate food. He should practice mantra yoga, laya yoga and hatha yoga through mild, middling and transcendental methods or periods respectively. Lay, mantra and hatha yogas have each the same 8 subservients. They are yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana and samadhi. Of these, yama is of 10 kinds. They are non-injury, truth, non-coveting, continence, compassion, straightforwardness, patience, grace, moderate eating, and purity, bodily and mental. Niyama is of 10 kinds. They are tapas, religious austerities, contentment, belief in the existence of God or Vedas, charity, worship of Ishvara or God, listening to the exposition of religious doctrines, modesty, a good intellect, japa, muttering of prayers and varta, religious observances. There are 11 postures beginning with chakra, padma, kurma, mayura, kukutta, Veera, Swastika, Bhadra, Simha, Mukta, and Gomukha are the postures enumerated by the knowers of yoga. Placing the left ankle on the right thigh and the right ankle on the left thigh and keeping the body erect while sitting is the portion chakra. Pranayama should be practiced again and again in the following order: Vij, inspiration, restraint of breath, and expiration. The pranayama is done through the nadis, nerves, hence it is called the nadis themselves. The body of every sentient being is 96 digits long. In the middle of the body, 2 digits above the anus and 2 digits below the sexual organ is the center of the body called Muladhara or sacral plexus. 9 digits above the genitals there is Kanda of Nadis which revolves oval shaped, 4 digits high and 4 digits broad. It is surrounded by fat, flesh, bone and blood. In it is situated a Nadi Chakra, wheel of nerves having 12 spokes. Kundali by which this body is supported is there. It is covering by its face the Brahmarandra which Brahma's hole of Susmana. By the side of Susmana dwell the Nadis, Lambosha and Kohu. In the next two spokes are Varuna and Yasavini. On the spoke south of Susmana is in regular course Pingala. On the next two spokes are Pusha and Pashvini. On the spoke west of Susmana is the Nadi called Saraswati. On the next two spokes are Sankhini and Gandhari. To the north of Susmana dwells Ida. In the next is Hastijiva. In the next is Visvodhara. In these spokes of the wheel, the 12 nadis carry the 12 vayus from left to right to the different parts of the body. The nadis are like, that is, woven like the warp and woof of cloth. They are said to have different colors. The central portion of the cloth, here the collection of the nadis is called the Nabhi Chakra, navel plexus, Javalanti, Nada Rupini, Prarandra and Susmana are called the basic sports of Nada, spiritual sound. These four nadis are of ruby color. The central portion of Brahmarandra is again and again covered by Kundali. The 10 vayus move in these nadis. A wise man who has understood the course of nadis and vayus should, after keeping his neck and body erect with his mouth closed, contemplate immovably upon Turyaka Atma at the tip of his nose, in the center of his heart, and in the middle of Bindu, and should see with a tranquil mind through the mental eyes the nectar flowing from there. Having closed the anus and drawn up the vayu and caused it to rise through the repetition of Parnava Om, he should complete with Sri Bija. He should contemplate upon his Atma as Sri or Prashakti and as being bathed by nectar. This is Kalvanchana, late time illusion. It is Kalvanchana. It is said to be the most important of all. Whatever is thought of by the mind is accomplished by the mind itself. Then Agni, fire, will flame in Jala, water, and in the flame of Agni will arise the branches and blossoms. Then the words uttered and the actions done regarding the universe are not in vain. By checking the bindu in the path, by making the fire flame up in the water, and by causing the water to dry up, the body is made firm. Having contracted simultaneously the anus and yoni, the womb, united together, he should draw up apana and unite with it samana. He should contemplate upon his atma as Shiva and then as being bathed by nectar. In the central part of each spoke, the yogin should commence to concentrate bala, will or strength. He should try to go up by the union of prana and apana. This most important yoga brightens up in the body the path of siddhis. As a dam across the water serves as an obstacle to the flood, so it should ever be known by the yogins that the chaya of the body is to jiva. This bandha is said of all nadis. Through the grace of this bandha, the devata goddess becomes visible. This bandha of 4 feet serves as a check to the 3 paths. This brightens up the path through which the siddhis obtained their siddhis. If with prana is made to rise up soon udana, this bandha checking all nadis goes up. This is called samput yoga or mula bandha. Through the practicing of this yoga, the three bandhas are mastered by practicing day and night intermittently or at any convenient time. The Vayu will come under his control. With the control of Vayu Agni, the gastric fire in the body will increase daily. With the increase of Agni, food etc. will be easily digested. Should food be properly digested, there is increase of rasa, a sense of food. With the daily increase of rasa, there is the increase of dhatus, spiritual substances. With the increase of dhatus, there is the increase of wisdom in the body. Thus all the sins collected together during many crores of births are burnt up. In the center of the anus and the genitals, there is the triangular Muladhara. It illumines the seat of Shiva of the form of Bindu. There is located the Parashakti named Kundalini. From that seat, Vayu arises. From that seat, Agni becomes increased. From that seat, Bindu originates and Nada becomes increased. From that seed Hamsa is born, from that seed Manas is born. The six chakras beginning with Muladhara are said to be the seat of Shakti goddess. From the neck to the top of the head is said to be the seat of Sambhu Shiva. To the nadis, the body is the sport or vehicle to prana. The nadis are the sport to jiva. Prana is the dwelling place to Hansa. Jiva is the sport to Shakti. Hansa is the seat and the locomotive and fixed universe. Being without distraction and of a calm mind, one should practice pranayama. Even a person who is well skilled in the practice of the three bandhas should try always to cognize with a true heart that principle which should be known and is the cause of all objects and their attributes. Both expiration and inspiration should be stopped and made to rest in restraint of breath alone. He should depend solely on Brahma, which is the highest aim of all visible. The giving out of all external objects is said to be Rechaka, expiration. The taking in of the spiritual knowledge of the Shastras is said to be Purka, inspiration, and the keeping to oneself of such knowledge is said to be Kumbhaka or restraint of breath. He is an emancipated person who practiced thus such a chitta. There is no doubt about it. Though Kumbhaka the mind should be always taken up, and through Kumbhaka alone it should be filled up within. It is only through Kumbhaka that Kumbhaka should be firmly mastered. Within it is Brahma Shiva, that Vayu which is non-motionless should be shaken again through Kantha Mudra, throat posture. Having checked the course of Vayu, having become perfect in the practice of expiration and restraint of breath, and having planted evenly on the ground the two hands and the 2 feet, one should pierce the 4 seats through Vayu, through the 3 yogas. He should shake Mahameru with the aid of Parkoti's forces at the mouth of Vayu. The 2 putas cavities being drawn, Vayu throws quickly. The union of moon, sun and Agni should be known on account of nectar. Through the motion of Meru, the Devtas who stay in the center of Meru move. At first in his Brahma Granthi there is produced soon a hole or passage. Then having pierced Brahma Granthi, he pierces Vishnu Granthi. Then he pierces Rudra Granthi. Then to the yogin comes Vedaha, piercing through his liberation from the impurities of delusion, through the religious ceremonies performed in various births, through the grace of gurus and devtas, and through the practice of yoga. In the mandala sphere or region of Susmana, situated between the Ida and Pingala, Vayu should be made to rise up through the feature known as Mudra Bandha. The short pronunciation of Pranava frees one from sins. Its long pronunciation confers on one moksha. So also its pronunciation in Appayana or Poluta Savra tone. He is a knower of Veda who through the above mentioned three ways of pronunciation knows the end of Pranava which is beyond the power of speech, like the never ceasing flow of oil or the long drawn bell sound. The short Savra goes to Bindu, the long Savra goes to Brahmarandra, the Pluta to Dvadasanta, 12th center. The mantra should be uttered on account of getting mantra siddhis. This Parnava Om will remove all obstacles. It will remove all sins of this are four bhumikas states predicated with Arambha, Ghata, Parichya and Nispatti. Arambha is that state in which one having abandoned external karmas performed by the three organs mind, speech and body is always engaged in mental karma only. It said by it is said by the wise that the Ghata state is that in which Vayu, having forced an opening on the western side and being full, is firmly fixed there. Preacher state is that in which Vayu is firmly fixed to Akash, neither associated with Jiva nor hot, while the body is immovable. It is said that Nispati state is that in which there take place creation and dissolution through Atma, or that state in which a yogi having become a Jivan Mukta and performs yoga without effort. Whoever recites his Upanishad becomes immaculate like Agni, like Vayu he becomes pure, he becomes freed from the sin of drinking alcohol, he becomes freed from the sins of the theft of gold, he becomes a Jivan Mukta. This is what is said by the Rig Veda, like the eye pervading the Akash, seeing without effort everything above. A wise man sees always the supreme seat of Vishnu. The Brahmanas who have always their spiritual eyes wide open praise and illuminate in diverse ways the spiritual seat of Vishnu. Om, thus is the Upanishad. So this narration of this Upanishad is completed, and thereby with this video is also completed. Thank you for watching this video. Namaskar my dear friends. Thank you.